G'day, it's Rob here again. Well, here's a little project I've been working on lately. This is a bit of dead area between the main sliding doors for the garage, double doors, and the side door. And I've had this metal army officers trunk, you know, with all the officers get a trunk. I've had it for years and it's got a whole lot of gear in there, mainly electronics, inverters and stuff like that. And I used to use it on the back of the ute when I was farming, and used to have all my gear in there, you know, when we were out in the paddocks belting around and putting in crops and stuff. Beautiful, nice trunk. I think I picked it up for about $10. They're really good trunks. Anyway, that's a dead area. I could put stuff on top of the trunk, but I always thought it'd be good to actually have the trunk under a bench, you know, like just put a small bench that I could slide the trunk in under or drop it in between the legs. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to make one up which will fit in there. I'll leave the ladders and stuff behind it, so I'll be able to just slide them in behind it. And so the bench will basically only come out about another 50 mil. And yeah, anyway, it's well on the way. I'll show you where I'm at with it. Okay, so here's the stand I'm making up. And it's just out of scrap angle iron. The two top bits across that way are part of an old bed frame that had been used to make something that I picked up off the side of the road, and so I'm reusing it a second time. It's got a few holes drilled in it, too bad. And you can see the rebar underneath it there. And I used that to spread I had to jack the legs off the old bench that I picked up off the side of the road, which were twisted. Had to jack them straight after I'd welded up one end. And then I just put rebar in there to keep them in position, because I couldn't use the hydraulic jack on the horizontal. They won't work that way, the Masadas won't. I had to do it vertical, and then trying to weld it with the jack there and everything was going to be awkward, so I just put in some rebar and welded them in, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. Not many benches with rebar in them. And I'll show you the end of it, the legs that I actually used. Right, well, these are the legs. Well, there was 3 of them, and they were on a bench I picked up off the side of the road, which was made out of really thick, big Oregon beams. It was about 12 foot long, and they'd used it to put diesel oil drums on, and the diesel was all stained on the Oregon, so it wasn't much good for a lot of things. But I sold them to a guy on Gumtree who was rapt to have them there, $10 each, and they were like, you know, 10 inches wide. Well, hang on, no, that's not right. Probably 6 inches wide by 50 mil thick, and you know, 12 foot long, and $10 each was the bargain, but they were marked. And he was using them to make planter pots, you know, planter sort of box thingies that he was selling as a bit of a side interest. So he was glad to have them, and he would have bought any more I had, but I sold the 3 or 4 that I had, kept their legs. I knew that heavy angle line would be good for something at some stage. So there were 3 of these U-shaped sections. I picked out the 2 straightest ones I could, because they weren't welded up very good. It was twisted to buggery. And then I cannibalised the one of them to extend the legs down, because they weren't quite long enough. I wanted it to be 800 high, same height as the bench top. Then on the top of it, I can put a sandblaster. I made it to dimensions of the legs. Well, if the sandblaster's slow arriving or doesn't arrive, I can put a wooden top on it. I got some board there, so temporarily I just use it as a regular bench, you know. I could even put a small mill on there if I ever got one. One day. Anyway, yeah, so it's going pretty good. I'm just painting it up on the old wheeler trolley down there. Once again, that was off the side of the road too. It just needed a new wheel. That wheel there was fucked. Excuse me, it was rooted. And I just replaced it with another one I had laying around, also off the side of the road. So yeah, if you can pick up junk, it can be handy. And if you can weld, you can make all this stuff up piss easy, like, you know. And it's not hard to weld. This was pretty tricky to weld because it's really hard steel angle. And I was welding thick to thin as well. So I used the AC welder, which I'm more proficient with. And yeah, it's got it's scrap steel, it's got a few holes in it, but too bad. It'll do the job. Coat of paint hides a multitude of sins. So there it is, it's just about completed. Just got to put a bit more paint on the bottom here where it's on the trolley. I can't paint because the trolley isn't away, so tomorrow I'll flip it over and slop a bit of paint on, which is really old paint I've had for ages. But anyway, getting enough out of it to do the job. And yeah, one way or another, it's going to be either a normal bench top or it'll have a grip blaster on there if what I'm trying to arrange comes true. So I could be reviewing a grip blaster. Maybe. We'll see anyway. Anyway, that's it. Hope you got something out of it. I haven't been sitting around doing nothing. See you next time. Cheers.